Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I have a message for you that has been inspired by kind of an interesting video that came up on my YouTube channel just more recently, just over the last couple of days. And I was kind of inclined to click on it. It had an interesting title, and I wanted to hear this person speak out. It was a really viewed video. Basically, it was talking about relationships, and it was talking about relationships when you're in your 30s, all right? And I was interested to hear this guy's perspective, and I want to share something with you guys. It's actually been the inspiration for the message that I've created for you guys today, that I want to create on the fly with you right now and have this conversation. So I'm going to be diving into kind of what nihilism is and why we want to be learning from a vast variety of different perspectives. And ultimately, I want to talk to you guys about how to create a life that you actually want. Because we can so oftentimes as human beings get caught up in this need to be right and feeling a sense of empowerment, right, in quotes, about finding yourself being right and validated in your current perspective. And we don't realize at the time what it's actually costing us in terms of our future, in terms of our life, in terms of our fulfillment, in terms of all the meaning that we can create in our lives, which ultimately creates the fulfillment that we experience or don't experience. And so it's going to be an interesting one that I'm really looking forward to diving into deeper with you guys. So as you're joining, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? From what corner of the globe are you coming from? And I would also love to hear your perspective on everything that we dive into today. So whether you've got your own experience on what we're going to talk about, or you want to just share your own wisdom, or if you have any questions at all, then drop them below. As you guys know, this is the time to connect, and I always want to connect in with you guys and make this a really co-creative space. So looking forward to hearing from you guys with that. And one more second until I just quickly share this and we can go. And if you do find this value of any sort of value or significance, then I would absolutely love for you to share this message along with anybody else, could get some value from it as well. So today we are talking all about this. Do not mistake the validation of your nihilistic perspective, and I'm going to unpack what that means, for empowerment. Okay, and of course I'm going to share with you the story of what inspired today's message, and all of these messages are in the hope that you can instill some empowerment in your own life. All right, so basically I want to talk about, in the fact that the true gauge of your actual empowerment is your progress towards your most meaningfully inspired vision for your life, all right? And when I talk about a nihilistic perspective, you may or may not have heard that. You may or may not know totally what I'm talking about with that. But basically, nihilism is this rejection of all kind of moral principles, and it's a belief in the fact that they think that life is meaningless, all right? And so this is what I mean by a nihilistic perspective, right? That life is meaningless, right? And so there's a lot of people out there who feel a sense of empowerment by having their nihilistic life is meaningless kind of perspective validated, right? They'll get other people who share that same perspective and they feel really validated. They feel a false sense of empowerment, and it keeps them stuck from living a life of real meaning and fulfillment, because your fulfillment is born from the amount of meaning, personal meaning and value that you create for yourself, right? And so with a nihilistic approach to life, when we, think that life is inherently meaningless, you might feel validated and quote unquote empowered by having that perspective validated by other people who share it. But what it's actually costing you in the long run is all of your fulfillment in life. Now, I'm going to share with you a perspective and a bit of story now to articulate and put into a bit of more of a picture what I'm really talking about and how you can also apply it to your life. So like I said, I came across this video on YouTube. It was actually just yesterday, and I clicked on it because it was interesting to me in terms of it was talking about, I think the title was something like pretty much like when you're in your 30s, relationships don't mean anything to you, right? And I was like, of course, you guys have been following me for a long time. You definitely know that relationships is the juice, like of everything that I do. Everything is regards to relationship to yourself, your intimate relationship, your friendships, your personal relationships, family relationships, client business relationships with different diverse groups around the world. Like everything is relationship, right? So I place a very high value on learning and studying this area and also teaching in this area. And so I was very interested to go, like I always love learning from different perspectives, particularly when they challenge my own, because I feel like I can learn something, I can expand, right? I can and glean some sort of value or wisdom or reinforce what is actually very meaningful to me, right? And basically, as I listened to this message, it was by this older guy, and it had, a couple of 100,000 views, I'm pretty sure at this point. There were thousands of comments, and I looked and I listened to the message, and he was making some very valid points, right? Some very real, very grounded, kind of realistic points. But what I found, the more and more I listened into it, it was seriously nihilistic. It was pretty much like I could see that this man had obviously experienced a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak in relationship, like every single one of us human beings do, right? And he'd obviously, been burnt quite, had his heart broken, and no doubt, and basically created this kind of nihilistic approach and strategy to deal with, his pain, right? And that's what we can do as human beings, right? We can find and we can intellectualize different strategies to ensure our survival through our most painful moments, right? And so what happened was I could see all this, and he was making some valid points. Then plus what was happening was that, he was creating this very nihilistic perspective, which was pretty much encouraging people to give up on relationship. Once you're out of your 20s, give up on it. You're an independent person. It's too hard to bring somebody else in. You don't have that same mentality, and you might as well just kind of live your own life by yourself, right? That was pretty much kind of what he was going on about. And of course, you guys have been following me for a while, then you obviously know that, that's like the opposite to what I would say, it's not, okay, your 20s and then that was exciting and now just give up on love and intimacy and all that great stuff, right? I'm actually quite the opposite. I actually see relationships can get better and better as you become more self-aware, as you experience and grow through all those painful, challenging, traumatic experiences that we all go through in relation to any human being, right? And so basically I could see that, and then I loved looking at the comments, right? Because I was like, well, are people sharing my perspective, or are they really sharing his perspective, or what, or some gray area? What's going on with this, right? And I was really surprised to see that it was all men commenting back. I didn't see one single woman, and obviously this guy is a male coach, right? Coaches men. And what I was seeing was this validation of this perspective, of this very nihilistic, meaningless perspective that was basically, making relationship out as like, basically this guy said at one point that he'd, you might as well just pay for sex, right? Instead of, getting some person with a whole bunch of baggage and children to be in relationship with, right? So it was a very surface level analysis of what relationships are all about. And this very nihilistic, but very kind of logical, rational kind of approach that was missing all the heart and the value and the intimacy and the depth, basically was being very validated by other men or other people in these positions where they'd reached this point of such pain and trauma from past relationships that they've pretty much just thrown in the towel. They've pretty much just gone, you know what? It's not worth it. The meaning, right? There's no meaning in relationship. Might as well just do it on our own. And I'm not putting all men in this category at all. And I would say that there's a lot of women who have a nihilistic approach to relationships and all sorts of things as well. So don't get me wrong on that. But this is just this particular moment in time that I'm reflecting on. And basically, yeah, it was just comment after comment that was super nihilistic, no meaning, giving up on relationship, throwing in the towel, having these big generalizations about who men were and who women were in different age brackets, right? And it was so nihilistic that it actually was very sad to really go into and really read over. And on the flip side of that, I'm very grateful for other leaders in this industry who have a very different perspective and approach, and particularly those male leaders who are out there empowering men in the opposite mindset. A great example of this, and I don't really condone and believe everything that this amazing human being goes into, but there is a guy by the name of Garrett J. White, and one thing that I really love about him is he coaches men, and basically one of the major things that I really love about what he does is he's come from being kind of a liar and a cheater in his marriage, and he's really changed and shifted gears with that and prioritizes a really loving, authentic, deep connection with his wife, and they've got what appears to be a phenomenal relationship from my perspective, and they've really done the work to get there, and they prioritize that connection. And what he's doing in his work is actually coaching and awakening men with a different perspective, a very meaningful perspective, particularly in this realm of relationship, rather than this nihilistic fixed mindset about validating and intellectualizing their pain away, right, into this just kind of well, that's just how it is, and that's where I'm never going again. But they feel a sense of false empowerment through the validation of this over intellectualized perspective that is actually on a deeper level a strategy to keep them safe from their pain and their hurt that they haven't actually fully dealt with and moved through, right? And so I'm very conscious of stuff like this because I know what it is to deceive ourselves. And I know what it is on a very personal level to intellectualize my fears and insecurities and pains away, right? And feel very validated and empowered in a very false way, but not even be awakened to it, right? Because I've done that many times in my life. And that's why you guys would see me, create the messages that I do the growth that I do. I have to keep my finger on the pulse of what's true for me because I know how good I've been at doing what this guy has been doing, right? And, intellectualizing my own pain and trauma away rather than healing it and deceiving my own self so well. And I know what kind of life that creates. It creates a very nihilistic life, lacking meaning, very disconnected from the self. And because I now know what it means to have real meaning in my life, to be very connected and aligned with what's true for me, I now know the difference. I've got the contrast, but I still know how good I am at falling into that same trap that I'm articulating from this guy's message. And so I do it consciously to stay, like I said, keep my finger on that pulse so I know that I'm not, deceiving myself. And I also have just done some work this morning that's allowed me to tap into realizing that that's actually connected to my deepest fear. My deepest fear is living a delusional life, right? Deceiving myself, right? And so so that's why I'm very highly attuned to this sort of stuff now, and I'll continue to grow that muscle because it means a lot to me, right? So I hope that what I've shared with you guys today is of value. I definitely want to check in with you guys, see who's been able to join me. So definitely drop me some comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And if you have any words of wisdom to contribute to this conversation today, or any questions at all. And remember, don't mistake the validation of your nihilistic perspective for empowerment. All right. The true gauge of empowerment is your progress towards your most meaningfully inspired vision in your life. All right. So that's what we're talking about. So can't wait to check in with you guys. So I've got Bill in the house, and Jonetta, and Jerry's here, and Jose, hello from the USA. Always good to see you. And Jay Kishan, good morning from Ahmedabad, India. I think I said it right. Good to have you here as usual. And Pooh's here as well. And Bill, hello from Key West, Florida. Awesome to see you, my friend. And love where you are in the world right now. And Shamim is here, and AJ, and Javier, I remembered your name, yay. And Jerry, hi Vanessa, glad to catch you live from work, Quebec City train station. Always good to see you, Jerry. And I always love when you join these messages. Hope you're doing amazingly well. And Sudan is here, and Muratesh, and Alicia, good to see you, beautiful. And Muratesh, love having you here, and Corey as well. And thank you, Alicia. I always appreciate beautiful, kind human beings in the community. So good to have you here. And Raymond is here, and Sadnan, love it. And Janetta, thanks for this topic. Awesome. I'm grateful that this was of value to you. And as I said, if these messages are of value, I should say, please do share them either like privately or publicly, whatever you'd like to do. If it's of value, that is such a gift that you give to me. And Elle's here as well. And Jerry, you are so welcome. I'm grateful that you found some inspiration here today. And Sadan, true relation means disconnecting from himself and connecting thoroughly to someone other. No, definitely not. So I think that is a challenge for a lot of relationships and a lot of people, right? Having that actual disconnect and connection from themselves, kind of having that void within themselves, and then seeking to connect with another. That's what creates the neediness in our relationships that we mistake for love. And it's not, right? We're needing that other person to fulfill that void because we're disconnected from ourselves. So what I would say instead is the only way that we can truly connect on the level of depth and in our potential in any quality of relationship is to first establish a really great deep connection with self. All right. So I hope that is answering your question, if I got it right there, Sudan. But appreciate you being here and contributing to the conversation. And JV is from the Philippines. Awesome to see you. And Sudan is from Pakistan. Awesome. And Edgar's in the house. I love it. Sending love from Chihuahua, Mexico. Glad to catch up with you live. Always good to see you, Edgar. Thanks for tuning in, and much love coming right back at you. And Aoni is here as well. So I hope you guys who are just tuning in now do catch a recording, get a ton of value from today's message. And Sudan, thank you. Well explained. Grateful to hear that. And thanks for the question. So that really is my message for each and every one of you guys today. You know, we can so easily get into this nihilistic perspective on the world, on our relationships, on our pathway forward, you name it, in any area, we can very much so get into this nihilistic approach to the world, which is, you know, a belief in meaninglessness, right? That life is not meaningful. And that's such a dangerous area to go, because your whole fulfillment in life is born from the meaning you create personally. All right. And if you don't think that life is inherently meaningful, if you think it's inherently meaningless, really, what's the point? You know, you're just an empty shell of a human being that doesn't have any meaning in their life. You may feel very validated and get a false sense of empowerment, but ultimately what that's costing you is your long-term meaning. All right. So just be super honest with yourself, right? Be really honest about why you are choosing to see nothing have any meaning, and know that as a human being, at that greater depth, in our humanness, we all have a yearning for meaningfulness, right? And when you get into a stage of meaninglessness, basically what that is one of our human strategies to protect ourselves from such hurt, pain from the past that we haven't healed. And we don't want to feel, we kind of feel like we've got this choice between being a victim and completely helpless and hurt and defeated, or being nihilistic and just shutting off from all meaning in our life, right? Closing our hearts down. And what happens is both of those places are the extremes that we don't want to be at, right? Both are very disempowered. One knows how disempowered it is and it feels helpless, and the other feels a false sense of empowerment, which is a very dangerous place to be. So the way out is to be honest and truthful with yourself, and to reconnect with the depth of your humanness, your heart, to know that at the end of the day, we all want to just be loved and accepted for who we are, and we want to be able to engage in that capacity to love at the true depths that is the potential of every single human being. So don't get caught up in false empowerment with a nihilistic perspective, and instead be really courageous and bold enough to admit what you're doing, right? And to seek out guidance to help heal the pain from the past so that you can actually make way for your most inspired future, all right? And that is the work that I do on such a deep level. It's what creates a hell of a lot of fulfillment in my own life, is to help people, heal the past, make way for their future, and get about actually creating what they want, not in this false sense of empowerment, but in a true, authentically inspired place of being, all right? So if you would ever like guidance with that, you can always reach out to me. That is the work that I do. And last little comments that I want to check in with you guys on here, and say hello to some of the people who have just joined. So I've got Ricky here, and Sadan, everyone's born for a cause. Absolutely, my friend. So beautifully put. And that's your mission, is to discover what that is. And you cannot do that if you do not tap into what is personally and uniquely and authentically valuable to you, meaningful to you, right? And so that's why, we want to avoid having a nihilistic approach. We want to tap into a life of real meaning and personal significance, all right? So love that. And Edgar, this message matches with others I hear about. You got the tools to choose how you will see your past to construct your future. So beautifully put, Edgar. And I love that you're hearing from all these different perspectives, and you're choosing based on the multitude of perspectives that you can learn from. You're selecting the ones that hold the most personal significance and meaning to you. All right. That is the whole reason we want to learn from a vast variety of different perspectives, not just have our nihilistic perspective validate and feel a sense of false empowerment. We want to learn, we want to expand, and particularly lean into those perspectives that are maybe challenging to us, because at the end of the day, every perspective is true. It's just partial. So make sure that the perspectives that you're learning from, you take that way. There's an element of truth, but it's only partial. It's only one perspective. And is this perspective actually leading me towards a vision of a life of real meaning and fulfillment that I find meaningful and fulfilling? Or is it leading me to a meaningless life where I might feel right, but I'm certainly not fulfilled? I might feel a false sense of empowerment, but truly I'm lacking meaning, right? And what's life all about if you think that life is meaningless, right? So really just be honest with yourself. And I love what you've just shared there, Edgar. Thank you so much, and totally agree. And Jerry, be a good and kind human. So beautifully put. And Edgar, you nail it beautifully as always. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you, and appreciate each and every one of you guys for showing up live today, contributing contributing to the conversation. So appreciated. Hope this was of value. And my reminder to you each and every day is to go out there and honor your authenticity, deepen your intimacy, and contribute meaningfully and purposefully. All right, that's it from me today. Much love to each and every one of you guys, and I cannot wait to see you soon. Bye.